everyone, welcome to another episode of Inspiring Series video podcast with me, Farisha. And I'm very honored and most delighted to have a very special guest with me today is Jeffrey Ong. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
Hi, Farisha. I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Wow, I can't believe myself that I'm actually chatting to you. I actually idolize you since my school days and I watch you on TV, and it's an honor to have you in my podcast series. Really an
You
honor.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, and you're very kind. And I really appreciate the support I received when I was a national athlete many, many years ago. And I'm glad that you're having me as a guest on your show.
Awesome. So, Jeffrey, can you tell us more about yourself?
Sure. I was born in Penang. My father is Malaysian Chinese. My mom is British. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in Penang and I trained there for many years until I was 13 years old. And then I went to high school or boarding school in England,
Mm-hmm.
in Devon. So I was training and studying in the UK. And then I got a scholarship to go to America to swim and study as well. So I went to university at the University of Southern California. It's
Mm-hmm.
in Los Angeles.
UCLA. Mm-hmm.
USC, yeah.
USC.
So yeah, USC and UCLA were rivals, but everyone thinks of UCLA because of Los Angeles. But there are two main universities in Los Angeles, UCLA and USC. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to USC and I was a competitive swimmer there. So I took part in the National Collegiate Championships in swimming, and I was what they call an honorary All-American, which means if you're in the top eight in a particular event, you're considered like an all-American, like top eight in the country. So I was top eight in the 1,650 yards, which is the equivalent of the 1,500 meters freestyle. I graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism, and sorry, let me say that again. I graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism and a minor in psychology, and then I moved back to Malaysia and I started working at TV3. That was my first job
Ah. Mm-hmm.
out of university. Yeah. And I worked in the media industry, the events industry, sports marketing, and now I'm in consulting. So quite a diverse professional career that I've had as well.
Wow, that's an amazing portfolio, Jeffrey. Okay, so moving on to the next question. You have represented Malaysia in swimming at the Olympics, World Championship, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, as well as the SEA Games. You've won a silver medal at the Asian Games, as well as 8 SEA Games, gold medals, and you also still hold the Malaysian national 1,500 meters freestyle record set in 1991, nearly 30 years ago. So can you share with us how you managed to be so successful in your career during your sports career, and how do you cope with the pressure?
That's a great question. Thank you, Farisha. So I'm actually wearing my Commonwealth Games 1990 shirt. It still fits, thankfully.
Wow.
So yeah, the 1990 Commonwealth Games took
Wow,
place in
wow.
Auckland, New Zealand.
New Zealand?
Yeah, it was a great experience, and I did have the privilege and honor of competing at the Olympics, World Championships, Asian Games, SEA Games, etc. So it's always an honor to represent your country.
Yes.
Um, I just, I believe that there's no substitute for hard work. You really need to put the effort in, right? There's no easy route to success, whether it's
There's
in
no
sports or
shortcut
in
to success. Yeah. You have
exactly.
to go through the challenges. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to learn to deal with the ups and the downs and take the rough with the smooth. So for me, it's always having a positive mental attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mindset.
um, yeah, exactly. Having a positive mindset, a growth mindset. Although I don't think growth mindset was a term that people used back then. It's quite a while ago. Uh, but also, it's being resilient, like having to build up that resilience because,
Yeah.
as I said,
Building
there's
the
no
grit.
shortcut.
Yeah, the
Hmm?
resilience and grit.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Grit and resilience. There's no shortcut to success, right? So I just made sure that I put in the effort every day, trained hard, and it takes a lot, not just an individual's input to become a successful athlete, right? You've got coaches, you've got
Mm,
teammates, sports scientists, sports psychologists, physiotherapists. strength and conditioning coaches, etc. So
Mhm.
it
It's
really, people,
teamwork. Yeah.
yes, yes. People say that, it takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a team or a community to raise a champion. So I couldn't have done it without my family, my relatives, friends, schoolmates, teammates, support of the state and
Yeah.
federal government, etc. So, yeah, I think that, one thing that was really important for me is that you have to enjoy what you're doing, right? If you love something and you're passionate about it and you want to do it every day, that's like how I felt with swimming, right? It was a part of my DNA almost, wanting to get in the water and train and swim and compete
It's in
and
your
win.
blood. Yeah, it's
It's in
what
my
you're
blood.
born to do. Yeah, it's in your blood.
Yeah, exactly. So my approach or philosophy was that I just took things one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
If you put in the effort every day and train hard, and also a lot of sports is actually the mental side, the psychological side, right? So it's about how you deal with pressure, how you cope with losses as well as wins. It's very easy to when
Yeah.
you win to to sort of enjoy, right? But when you don't do well, then how do you cope from that and bounce back from
Yeah.
challenges and obstacles?
Psychologically, how do you bounce back and how do you set your mind to have this positive growth mindset? Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of it is just you learn as you go along. There's no like secret or formula. You just have to figure out what works for you. So for me, it was a combination of training and the psychological preparation, of course, diet, nutrition, the support of teammates and friends and family. So those are all important. Also, I think what's important is um, dealing with the setbacks, right? Like, when you overcome obstacles, or if you don't do as well, you think, how can I overcome these, or how can I improve, or how can I tweak things to get better? So for me, a lot of it was, um, like working on little fine tuning little parts of my technique, or,
Mhm.
trying to work out what works best for my style or for my, freestyle stroke or whatever it is. So, yeah, it's really you learn as you go along, and if you make little changes every day, they can have a huge impact, right? So if you improve something 1% a day, like the Kaizen philosophy, or for example, if I worked on my flip turns, tumble turns at each wall, if you cut say half a second at each turn, in a 1500-meter race, which is quite a long race, you could cut down potentially 7.5 seconds, 10 seconds, if you work on your starts, if you work on your efficiency. So it's very important to work on little things that can have a huge difference down the line.
Yes, and I totally agree with you, Jeffrey. Take it one step at a time. That's how you grow because you can't automatically reach to the top. You have to start from the bottom and work your way up step by step. And
Exactly.
it's a process. It's a learning
Yeah,
curve.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, now moving on to the next question. How did you transition from your sports career to your professional business career?
Okay, that's a really good question as well. So a lot of athletes and ex-sports people, when they, end their sports career, they're not sure what to
Mm-hmm.
do, or you wake up every day to train or compete, or you do the same sport day in, day out, year in, year out. So
Mm-hmm.
how does one cope with not having that as part of your routine or your daily
Right.
ritual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was fairly straightforward. Like, I had good support from family and friends. So fortunately, I had a strong group of people who would advise me, or give me
Your support
support.
system. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I graduated with my degree from USC in broadcast
Mm-hmm.
journalism and a minor in psychology, so I wanted to become a journalist. So I joined TV3 straight after
Mm-hmm.
university. I was a broadcast journalist, so I was covering news, general news,
Yeah.
business, politics, current affairs, and sports, of course, as well. And I enjoyed that. So I actually channeled. I was very fortunate. I channeled my energy and my passion into my career. So it was
Mm-hmm.
not too difficult for me to switch and
Yeah.
refocus, right? And that's what I think is difficult for some athletes when they retire. They're not sure what to do. You wake up one day, you don't have to do anything. You think, what do I do now, right? So for me, it was about just putting my energy and my attention into my career, and that led to a great career in media. So I was a TV host, I was a news presenter,
Broadcast
a news producer.
journalist,
Yeah,
TV3, yeah.
yeah, and I was hosting TV programs. I was script writing, editing, directing. So it was great fun. Worked on some fantastic projects. I did MCing, I did some PR, I did some
High
event
five,
work.
emceeing.
Right. And then, I moved to London in 2002, and I ended up working in the events industry for 14 years.
In
So
London.
I was based in London, but running events, internationally. So I got to travel a lot, which was fantastic. A wonderful opportunity to work in the events industry. And then I moved back to Malaysia in 2016, worked in sports marketing with Total Sports Asia, with the PGA Tour, with Dentsu Sports Asia, and now I work with engaging leaders. We do consulting work in the space of human resources, human capital, and people development. I was very fortunate that I was able to transition into a professional career and be able to redirect my focus and my energy into my career once my sports career ended.
Okay, so you now work with engaging leaders. So please tell us more about your work and what you do now.
Okay, great. Engaging Leaders is based in Singapore, and we work with clients in Singapore and across the region as well. So we have a presence in Malaysia, in Philippines. We work with MNCs, both based in Singapore and regionally. So my role is actually to head up the business here in Malaysia. I'm a HRDF certified trainer, so I can actually run programs that are claimable by the Human Resources Development Fund. Engaging Leaders Sendirian Berhad is a HRDF registered training provider company. So again, if companies contribute to HRDF, when they engage our services, they can claim back the fees, based on all the paperwork.
HRDF fund, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So we can run HRDF compliant training programs. And we work on all sorts of things. We work on employee engagement, change management, culture transformation, resilience, strategic wellness, like corporate well-being and well-being in the workplace.
Corporate wellness.
Yes, yeah. So we have a whole range of solutions and services which we tailor for each client. And it's really focused on helping develop the company's people, right? Each company has their own sets of challenges or goals and objectives that they would like to achieve, and we can partner with them on programs, whether it's training or leadership development or workshops, all sorts of things. So it's really exciting because I really enjoy working with people, and it's a fantastic way to be able to help develop people, and you see the progress as people go into programs or workshops, and then when they come out at the end of it, they've all learned something new, or they've gained some new skill or knowledge, or maybe a new mindset even. So, it's a really wonderful place to work.
Yes, and I like the fact that the work that you do, Jeffrey, you help people grow and you help them to unleash their full potential. And it's about, engaging human capital, human development, and help individual grow to become leaders.
Yes, yes. In the end, we're all leaders in some way, essentially, like you could be a leader in your family, in your community, among your friends, or even in yourself. Like you can be a leader in the field that you're in, or just self-improvement, self-development. It's very important. So I believe we all have leadership traits and qualities. We just need to hone those and develop ourselves. And it can be through online learning. It can be through in-person or virtual training programs. It can be through reading. It can be through interacting with people, having a mentor or a coach or a consultant. So, I believe that we are all lifelong learners. Every day I learn something new, right? So, watching how people grow and develop and even change or improve their mindsets is very rewarding and very satisfying.
Okay, and now we have come to the end of the show. Our last question for today. What advice would you like to share with all Malaysians out there, especially our youth, the young Malaysians?
Well, thanks for the opportunity to be a guest on your program. It's really a good platform for me to share my life experiences and any tips that I might have. So I think for Malaysians, we should all stick together. We should all work together, be united. One of the great things about sports is that you can really bring people together. When I was representing Malaysia at international competitions, the support I received from the Malaysian public, from people who are fans, not just of sports, but they just were really united in supporting Malaysian sports people. It was really touching, and it was an honor to represent the country. And I feel that we can keep that going. We don't actually, apart from sports, which is one way of bringing people together and uniting. One of the great things about Malaysia is that we have such a diverse population, right? Different backgrounds and skill sets and cultures, and we can bring it all together, and it can be a huge strength for us. So I would say that let's work together. Let's combine efforts. Let's be united. Let's be harmonious, and a lot of great things can happen. And also, think positively. Have that growth mindset. Let's. I think one of the important things is that we all know that there are problems and challenges, but how do we overcome them, right? Let's look for solutions and not just talk about the problems. So if we can all work together, collaborate, share ideas, support each other, encourage each other, and try and come up with solutions rather than talking about the problems all the time, I think we have a very bright future.
Yes, that is some wise words, Jeffrey. Okay, so I want to ask you, what is the most memorable moment in your sports career? Like something that it's in your heart, like forever. Like it's the most memorable moment in your sports journey.
I actually have two, so I hope you don't mind if I share them both very briefly. So one is. The first one actually was when I competed in my first SEA Games, Southeast Asian Games. That was in Jakarta in 1987. I was not the highest ranked swimmer in the field for the 400 meters freestyle. So I sort of had an outside chance for a medal, but no one expected this 15-year-old boy from Penang to achieve that much. And I won the gold medal, and I broke the SEA Games record. So I even surprised myself. Thank you very much. It was such an amazing experience to win my first SEA Games gold medal. My parents were there, to see the flag being raised during the prize giving ceremony, to hear Negara
Malaysian flag, and you were 15. 15. Wow. Yeah.
So that was very memorable for me. It was the first of my 8 SEA Games gold medals, and then I managed to win the 1500 meters freestyle gold as well. So I got 2 gold medals and 2 SEA Games records. So I would say that's probably, like an early memory that was very special. The second memory, which is, unbelievable or incredible, is, competing in my first Olympics. So it was in Seoul in 1988. So in South Korea.
South Korea.
Yes. Yeah. And then, being at the Olympics, which is the pinnacle of sports competition, and being in the Games Village, competing in the same pool as a lot of my heroes and idols, swimming in the same swimming pool. And also, in the opening ceremony, like marching out in the opening ceremony and the whole stadium and the whole atmosphere. I mean, it's a unique experience. You just can't replicate it. So that was such an honor and such an amazing feeling. So I would say those are the 2 highlights of my sports career.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for sharing your amazing journey. And for those of you who would like to know more about engaging leaders and also would like to get in touch with Jeffrey, okay, so what is your Facebook, IG, and LinkedIn for those of you who would like to connect with Jeffrey?
Okay, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. On Facebook, I have a Facebook page. So if you look up Jeffrey Ong, it should have a sports person or sports people page. So you can like my page and follow. I do post there. And I have a Twitter account. If you search Jeffrey Ong, OLY, which is Olympian, so OLY. I have a Twitter account. I have Instagram. So and Engaging Leaders, if you look up Engaging Leaders Asia, we have a website as well, but it's also on my LinkedIn profile. So feel free to connect and like my Facebook page, and look for me on Twitter and Instagram, and also connect with me on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for being in my show, Inspiring Series Video Podcast. So I hope for those of you who have watched this show, I hope you are inspired and also motivated by the sharing by Jeffrey just now. Till then, stay safe, take care, bye.
Thanks, Arisha. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Bye.